The date is March 31st, 1985. Madison Square Garden in New York City, a hallowed venue known for hosting some of the most iconic moments in entertainment history, is about to witness a pivotal event that will forever change the trajectory of professional wrestling. This night will mark the birth of WrestleMania, a spectacle that transcends the realm of wrestling, transforming it from a regional curiosity into a global phenomenon. In many ways, this was the moment that wrestling found its true identity as mainstream entertainment. To appreciate the profound significance of this moment, we must first understand the landscape of professional wrestling in the early 1980s. Before the advent of WrestleMania, professional wrestling existed in a fragmented state, with independent territorial promotions operating throughout the United States. These territories had their own champions, their own stars, and their own unique identities. But within the mind of Vince McMahon, a revolutionary idea was brewing, one that would change the face of wrestling forever. He believed that wrestling was more than just a niche entertainment. It was an untapped cultural force that could captivate the masses, transcend geographic and cultural barriers, and become a staple of mainstream popular culture. The strategic groundwork for WrestleMania began long before the event itself. McMahon knew that to reach a broader audience, he had to appeal to not just wrestling fans, but also to the wider cultural zeitgeist. One of his most brilliant moves was his partnership with MTV, the music network that was revolutionizing pop culture. MTV had a massive young audience, and by aligning wrestling with the network's vibrant, energetic appeal, McMahon could introduce wrestling to an entirely new demographic. The groundwork was laid through two landmark wrestling specials, The Brawl to End It All in 1984 and The War to Settle the Score in 1985. These broadcasts were designed not just as wrestling matches, but as pop culture events in their own right. Wrestlers were no longer just athletes. They were characters with their own stories, rivalries, and personal stakes. This wasn't just about winning a match, it was about creating moments that would be etched into cultural memory for years to come. The star power assembled for WrestleMania was unprecedented. Legendary boxer Muhammad Ali served as the special guest referee, adding a layer of athletic legitimacy to the proceedings. Entertainer Liberace, known for his flamboyant style and widespread popularity, made a high-profile appearance to accompany the Rockettes, further blending the worlds of music, theater, and sports. Billy Martin, the fiery and beloved former manager of the New York Yankees, was enlisted to serve as the ring announcer. These cultural icons helped transform WrestleMania from a wrestling event into a multimedia spectacle that brought together the worlds of sports, entertainment, and pop culture in ways that had never been done before. In an era when wrestling was still often seen as a lowbrow form of entertainment, McMahon was positioning it as a legitimate mainstream cultural product. The event's 9 matches were each meticulously constructed to tell a compelling story, showcase the personalities and drama of the participants, and provide the audience with moments that would live on in their memories long after the final bell rang. The opening match between Tito Santana and the Executioner set the tone for the evening. While the match itself wasn't particularly long or complex, it was a strategic choice to kick things off with a solid, straightforward wrestling contest. Santana's victory, achieved through a figure-4 leglock, was a small but significant narrative statement. It signaled the beginning of WrestleMania, and in doing so, it helped create the feeling of anticipation for what was to come. Next came one of the most unforgettable moments in wrestling history: King Kong Bundy versus Special Delivery Jones. In a match that lasted a mere 9 seconds, Bundy decimated Jones with a ruthless avalanche splash, marking his dominance in the Federation and solidifying his reputation as a monster heel. This match wasn't about technical wrestling, it was about spectacle, power, and the larger-than-life personas that McMahon was working to cultivate. Bundy's sheer physicality and brutal efficiency in dismantling his opponent became the stuff of legend. The next contest saw Ricky the Dragon Steamboat face off against the up-and-coming Matt Bourne. Steamboat showcased his agility and technical prowess from the outset, quickly gaining the upper hand with a series of quick strikes and fluid transitions. However, Bourne, no slouch himself, managed to turn the tide with a sudden display of raw power, flipping Steamboat over his shoulder and driving him into the canvas with a devastating belly-to-belly suplex. But Steamboat, ever the resilient competitor, wasn't done yet. With his signature speed and precision, Steamboat soared through the air with a perfect flying crossbody. In a flash, he hooked Bourne's leg and secured the pin. Soon, two new challengers made their way to the ring. David Sammartino, the son of the legendary Bruno Sammartino, was accompanied by his father, who stood stoically by his side, a towering presence in the corner. On the other side, the brash Brutus the Barber Beefcake, flanked by his manager Johnny Valiant, a colorful and unpredictable figure. From the moment the bell rang, the action was a back-and-forth spectacle. Both men showcased their individual strengths, with David employing his speed and technical skill, while Beefcake relied on his brawn and unrelenting aggression. The turning point came when Beefcake, in a display of raw power, tossed David Sammartino out of the ring. As the younger Sammartino crashed to the floor, Valiant seized the moment, lifting him off the ground and slamming him mercilessly onto the unforgiving cement. Valiant wasn't done though. With a cold smirk, he shoved David back into the ring, setting the stage for more chaos. That's when Bruno, unwilling to watch his son suffer, exploded into action. He stormed into the ring, unleashing a furious assault on Valiant. The brawl quickly escalated as all four men became embroiled in a chaotic melee, and the match was declared a no contest. The first championship defense at WrestleMania saw the determined Junkyard Dog challenge the reigning Intercontinental Champion, Greg Valentine, who was accompanied by his notorious manager, Jimmy Hart. The match began with Junkyard Dog on the offensive, unleashing a barrage of headbutts and punches, but the tide shifted when Hart distracted the referee, causing Valentine to accidentally strike him while attempting to retaliate. In a moment of desperation, Valentine used the ropes for leverage during a pin, an illegal move that prompted Tito Santana to rush to the ring and alert the referee, leading to the match being restarted. Ultimately, Junkyard Dog secured a count-out victory when Valentine failed to re-enter the ring, though the title remained in Valentine's possession, as a count-out could not result in a title change. The Tag Team Championship match between the US Express of Mike Rotunda and Barry Windham against the team of Nikolai Volkov and the Iron Sheik was a masterstroke of storytelling. The international tensions of the Cold War were woven into the narrative, with the American team representing the pride of the United States, while the foreign heels embodied the political anxieties of the era. Volkov and the Sheik's victory was not just about winning a wrestling match, it was about playing into the Cold War narrative, which resonated deeply with the American public at the time. Andre the Giant's $15,000 body slam challenge against Big John Studd was a classic example of wrestling as myth-making. Andre, the 500-pound behemoth, was tasked with lifting the similarly imposing Studd in a match that was as much about physicality as it was about pride. The moment when Andre successfully body-slammed Studd was a dramatic culmination of weeks of storytelling. It wasn't just an athletic achievement, it was a symbolic victory for the character of Andre, the eighth wonder of the world. In perhaps one of the most groundbreaking moments of the night, Wendy Richter defended her women's championship against Leilani Kai, with Cyndi Lauper in her corner. This match wasn't just about athletic competition, it was about the growing representation of women in professional wrestling. Lauper's presence alongside Richter created a unique partnership that not only made waves in the wrestling world, but also demonstrated the shifting dynamics of gender in the entertainment industry. Finally, the main event, the match that would become the defining moment of WrestleMania. Hogan and Mr. T teamed up to take on the villainous duo of Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff, with Muhammad Ali as the special guest referee. This was more than a match. It was the culmination of months of build-up, a clash of titanic personalities, and a cultural spectacle that defied expectations. The crowd's electric energy, the drama of the match itself, and the surreal combination of sports and entertainment created a moment that would be etched in history. When the final bell rang and Hogan stood victorious, the message was clear. WrestleMania had arrived, and it was a force to be reckoned with. The numbers told the story. Over 19,000 live attendees and over 1 million closed-circuit television viewers. But more than just attendance figures, this was a statement. Professional wrestling had crossed over into the mainstream. It was no longer just a niche entertainment form. It had become a global cultural event. The technical aspects of the matches may not have been on par with what we see in modern wrestling, but that was never the point. WrestleMania was never meant to be just about in-ring competition. It was about spectacle, storytelling, and creating iconic moments that would resonate with audiences worldwide. This was a cultural declaration, a moment when entertainment itself was redefined, when the lines between sport, theater, and cultural spectacle were irrevocably blurred. In the crucible of that March night, a new form of entertainment was born, not just wrestling, but a global narrative experience that would captivate millions. and transform popular culture forever. Thank you for watching.